Hi and welcome to another episode of PeaceMag TV. In this video for the Oxygen plugin for WordPress, we're going to take a look at some of the fundamental differences to page builders like Elementor, Visual Composer or Divi. So what exactly is Oxygen? Well, at its core, it's a WYSIWYG, or what you see is what you get editor for WordPress that gives you the power of a visual editor alongside a range of hand coding tools. So in this video, I want to show you and provide some details on some of the main factors that separate Oxygen from any of the other page builder tools available for WordPress. What this video isn't though, is a comprehensive tutorial on how to use Oxygen. So one area that causes some confusion when users look at the plugin is Oxygen a theme? Is it a page builder? Is it a coding tool? Well, I suppose the easiest way to think of it is that Oxygen provides you with a completely blank canvas to work from. It doesn't rely on a theme to be able to create pages or content. If you want to integrate the power of a visual page editor like Elementor, you can do that by adding some tiny snippets of code to your page. If you want to add in the WordPress loop, you can do that too. However, if you want to get down and dirty with Oxygen, you can create pages and layouts from the ground up while not relying on any of the bloat that comes with many of the themes and plugins out there. However, the power and flexibility comes at a potentially steep learning curve. If you're looking for a quick and easy way to create page layouts, then Oxygen may not be for you. But if you want to be able to control almost every aspect of your site design right down to the smallest detail, then Oxygen gives you those tools. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a couple of examples of the basics of Oxygen and how you can use it to quickly and easily customize layouts, adjust things, call the WordPress loop, insert Elementor, those kinds of things. So you can kind of get an overview of what this can do for you. Then we're going to move on to some more specific examples in how you can use Oxygen and how you can leverage it to sort of separate it from things like Visual Composer and Divi. So what is the biggest difference between Oxygen and a visual page builder? Well, the main differentiating factor is that Oxygen is theme agnostic. In other words, it completely bypasses your WordPress theme and allows you to either manually create your own full layout or leverage the power of creating full or partial themes and then tie in core WordPress functionality like the loop, where you can display your blog content, or you can insert some simple code and then use the power of the WordPress editor or harness the added functionality of a visual editor like Elementor. Now this means that you could easily develop some important areas of your site design, for example the header and the footer, and then just drop in the code to use the WordPress content area and utilize the familiar tools available to you inside WordPress itself. Now, this gives you a huge amount of control over the speed of your website design by avoiding all the unnecessary bloat that can form part of a complex theme that you may not even use 80% of. It also means you don't need to worry about using any form of framework, as Oxygen lets you take care of the design and the coding, editing and styling should you want to. If that seems like too much work, you could easily take advantage of any of the professionally supplied template blocks and then tweak them to your own requirements. In this section, I'm going to demonstrate some of the things you can do with Oxygen and building templates to control your website. Now, this should give you a good understanding of how it separates itself from something like Visual Composer or Elementor, but still allows you to leverage the power that they can bring. So let's take a look at some of those things right now. So as we've already discussed, Oxygen doesn't actually require any kind of theme functionality. It works on basically a blank canvas. And then you can use Oxygen if you want to develop and build your own elements to create your own theme. Now the benefit of this, as we already said, is the fact that it's kind of cuts out a lot of the bloat that you end up with quite complex themes that you may not actually even need. So for this example, I'm going to show you how we can quickly and easily create a simple sort of template page, and then how we can call that up and use that as a template for any kind of new page you want to create throughout your entire website. So we kind of get the benefit of a template or a theme without all the bloat and the excess rubbish we might not need. Now for this example, I'm going to be using some of the predefined layouts that Oxygen provides, but obviously you can use those as a basis, or you can start and create your own from scratch. So let's take a look at that. I'm in the Oxygen section now, and I've come down to templates. What I'm going to do is click on Add New, and we're going to give this a name, and we're going to call this one Page Template. Now, I'm not really too bothered what we're calling this. I'm just going to say this is going to be a template. So we're going to say this is going to be a single page template in this one. So we're going to click on that. And you can see now we can apply this to all something. In other words, we can say we want to apply this to posts, pages, media, custom CSS, and so on. We're going to say we're going to apply this to pages for this example. And we'll click on publish. So once we do that, that will now invoke the Oxygen editor. So what we can do is we can just jump into the visual editor for that. That'll take us into the typical Oxygen layout, and we can start leveraging the power of Oxygen to create this layout. So we're going to keep this really simple. Like I said, we're just going to come down and we're going to specify add, and we're going to go over and we're going to take a look at what we want to add in this. We're going to use components, I should say. We're going to go to headers, and in there we're going to choose the header we want to use, and we'll keep this again pretty simple. Nice simple layout. So we'll add that in there. Let that load up. That's going to put all the relevant information in there. Next up, we're going to drop in a footer. So let's just jump back at the components, go back into footers, and we'll find one that I think kind of works well. So we'll go for this really simple one. That's creating the footer area. Now we're just going to simply drop in the main area, which is going to be where our content is going to be placed. And like I say, you can leverage the power of Oxygen, or you can create these from scratch yourself. And you can build these up to create really good looking, specifically designed layouts. So once we've done that, let's go and add in that new HTML block ready to put in the code that we need. We just simply jump over to fundamentals, and we're going to come down to the HTML block. Click and add that in, and you can see that drops it in below. We don't need to do that. We just want to jump over now to the DOM tree, and we're going to reorder that to position it in between the two. And we're simply going to go and add in a little bit of code that's going to allow us to use a visual editor. Now, you don't have to use this visual editor. You can simply use the normal editor inside WordPress if that's what you're comfortable with. But the fact that we can start to leverage things like Elementor or Visual Composer just really gives us the ability to create these good looking templates and then use the power and the functionality of those visual editors to create the actual physical content. Okay, so let's go now and put the little block of code that we need in to start to use the Visual Composer or Elementor or any of those kind of visual editors to work with our page. So let's go to the code block, and let's just open the code editor up in there, and as you can see, I've got a block of code that's already set up in there that actually allows me to then call up the loop inside WordPress and allow me to then use the content that's created inside the WordPress page, and we can then use the power of something like Elementor or Visual Composer. So once we do that, we click on save, and that's our template pretty much done. So once we've done that, we can just jump back over to WordPress. You can see now everything is set up in there, so we'll click update, so everything is laid out and set up ready. Next thing we need to do is go through and create a page, and then we can start using the power of this template we just created with our visual editor. So let's do that next. Okay, so I've come up to the pages section, and the first thing we need to do is create a new page. And we're just going to give this a name, so we're going to call this template test. As you can see, we've got the edit with Elementor option. We click on publish, and what that's going to do is that'll come up now and show us the Oxygen options that are available. As you can see, the default is normally custom designed just for this page, and then we can create a custom template that uses Oxygen to leverage the power of the editor to create the content on a page-by-page basis. For this example, we don't want to do that. We want to benefit from the template we just created and use that alongside our visual editor. To do that, just click on template, and then you can see we've got a range of templates we can choose from. We're going to choose the page template, which is the one we just created. Once we've done that, we can now hit update if we want to, or just start working with Elementor to start working. So we click update, and then when we click Elementor, we can go in and start using the editor in there to start creating the page layout. Click edit with Elementor. That will invoke the editor, and if you're used to Elementor, you're going to see that we've got the page layout in front of us ready to start working. And as you can see, it sits inside the design or the template that we've just created and saved a part of Oxygen. Now I'll show you this page that I've created using Elementor, using this template, so you can see exactly how everything looks when it's all finished. So I created this simple page layout in Elementor earlier on, and as you can see, the layout we created inside the template for Oxygen has now been applied, and we've got the benefits of using the Elementor editor to create our content. So using the templates and harnessing Oxygen's power really does give you a very flexible and powerful way to create great looking websites. Something you can easily supply to a client where they can just choose the template layout they want, or you can set it up to apply it to all of the page templates, or use taxonomies. There's lots of different ways you can leverage the power of Oxygen to use the layout that you want, and then just let your customer or your client use the power of something like Visual Composer or Elementor so they can just create content in the way that they used to. So this is another one of those areas that I think helps differentiate Oxygen from the likes of Visual Composer or Elementor, where you want to get down and have that real nuts and bolts control over the way your website or the page is actually going to look. If you're developing a site using Oxygen, one of the things that you're really going to want to do is leverage the power of things like menus and shortcodes and all the different kind of reusable elements that WordPress has. So one of the things that kind of popped up quite a few times is that you can't really use the WordPress menus inside Oxygen, and to a certain extent you are probably right. However, you can just simply install an add-on such as the Max Mega Menu, the free version, and we can leverage the power of that to create our own menus and then link them through into our template or theme structure that we're building inside Oxygen. So we've already taken a look at how we can leverage the power of these different templates and how we can save them and apply them to our page. Well, let's take that one step further where we start to use these shortcodes to create our menu structure. So I've got a page in front of me at the moment, and as you can see there's no header or anything applied to this. So I'm going to show you how quick and easy it is to replace the sort of placeholder links that are set up in these templates in Oxygen itself with a live menu structure that you can then edit and control and do all the things you want with and style it later on. So let's see how easy that is. I'm in the components section, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down and I'm going to add in a new header. So I'm going to come into that and I'm going to choose a style that I like. So I'm going to go for something simple like this header standard style. We'll click to add that in there. If we find it goes into the wrong location, we can easily restructure that by using the DOM tree on the right hand side. Now let's expand that out and let's find the div block that controls the physical content that's currently in there. So we expand this out, you can see you have div block number 78, sort of really neatly titled. So what we can do is we can now get rid of these links that we don't want. If we wanted to leave the free trial in there, we could do that. But let's go through and just delete all of these different entries while just leaving the div block in there. So we've got the div block is empty, there's nothing going on. So what we can do now is we can go in and we can add in the shortcode. So I've already created my mega menu. Now this video has nothing to do with how to use that. You can use any of the sort of menu plugins. All we really want is the shortcode that's generated that allows us to then insert that into our template structure or our page structure. So I've got that saved out and I've got it copied onto my clipboard. So all I'm going to do is come over and choose the shortcode element. So I'm going to come into WordPress. We're going to click on shortcode. Once we do that, it pops up a little error message saying that it can't execute the shortcode. Well, that's because we haven't actually added a shortcode in there yet. Once that's selected, you can see shortcode is clicked on the DOM tree. That gives us the option at the top now to put in the full shortcode. So all I'm going to do is paste in the shortcode for my menu. And once I do that, you can see it now immediately shows us what that menu structure is going to be like. Don't have to save or update or refresh the page. We now have a live, fully working menu system in there, calling it out from a shortcode from that plugin. So let's just save this. And then what we'll do is we'll take a look at preview this page and we can see this in action. So what I'm going to do is click to go back to WordPress. That's going to take us back to the editor page. Click update to save that, and we'll click on preview changes. And we'll see now, there's our live menu structure. As you can see, we've got drop down menus in there. We've got all the different things we can click through and view any of those pages as a fully working menu system. And just to show you what I mean, if I just jump back over to our page, our admin section, we come into our appearance and we go to menus. What we'll do is we'll simply add something else into here. So let's go to pages and we'll add in demo 2 for this example. Add to menu. We'll reposition that where we want it to be. Save the menu, jump back onto our test page and refresh that, and there you can see our new link is placed into our page. So it's very quick and easy to be able to create these menu structures. And now if we wanted to, we could save this as a template, apply it to a page, save it as a global reusable template, all of the functionality, all of the power that Oxygen gives us when we build these elements to be able to reuse them throughout our entire site structure or development process. So pretty quick, very, very simple to do, and also very, very powerful. Okay, so there's one other area that really does excel inside Oxygen, and something that goes beyond what a lot of these visual editors will allow you to do, and that's the ability to go in and add your own HTML or PHP code. So we can add code blocks in this, and we can reference different WordPress features, or we can do a lot of other things. So if you're the kind of person that's comfortable with dealing with code, and you understand the whole WordPress side of things, and you really want to get down and dirty and get stuck in and really get a fine level of control, this is something that Oxygen gives you that goes way beyond, like I say, what something like Visual Composer and that can do. Very, very easy to do, and I'm going to show you a very simple example of how to do this, but it's going to give you an idea of how you can quickly and easily add this content in. So we just come over to the left hand side and click on Add. We're in the Fundamentals section, and what we're going to do is we're going to add a HTML block in there. Now, even though it says HTML, you're not limited to just HTML. You can use PHP code in there, or you can add JavaScript as well. So let's just come over. Once we've done that, you can see on the right hand side now on the dormitory we've got a code block in there, which if we want to we can easily rename. And then we come up to the top and you can see we have Code Editor as one of the buttons we can click on. Click on there and you can see again it leaves a little bit of placeholder sort of PHP code in there that just drops in today's date. So you can see we can add that in there, and you can also see that we can easily go in and style the HTML or the PHP code and add in any kind of spans and divs and all that kind of stuff inside this. So we've got three sections on the left hand side: PHP and HTML, CSS or JavaScript. What we're going to do is we're going to stick to this PHP and HTML, and we're going to take that out of there. Now let's just say, for example, we wanted to just use the loop. So we wanted to have the page content that's going to be used in our theme, for example. Now we took a look at this earlier on where we just sort of dropped this in to use the visual editor, and this is the same bit of code. But we can easily just come in and start typing that in, and you can see the nice thing with this is it'll just sort of show us everything we need to see, and it's like working with a code editor. So we can easily put this information in, and you can see it color codes it as I type. So it's very, very quick and easy, and if you're the kind of person that you are used to dealing with code editors, then you're going to see that the fact that this color codes it and does all the indentations, all the sort of nice little code editor for you to work with, it's already in this, so you're going to be very accustomed to this. And you can see I'm just adding in some simple code to do with WordPress itself, and this will allow us to display the content on the page. And all I need to do is close that PHP tag out at the end, and you can see now we've got some color-coded content in there. Now we're not going to see anything at this point in time because I don't actually have any information on the page, but I'll just show you how easy it is. So we put that information in there. We'll just hit save. Now you can see we've just been replaced with an empty placeholder, and like I say, that's because there's nothing on the page at the moment. So once you save that out, we're going to jump back into WordPress. Once we're in there, you can see I can edit with Elementor if I want to, but for this, I'm just going to ignore that. We're going to use the WordPress editor. Now, okay, we've got a little bit of a weird kind of thing going on there. We're not too worried about that. Let's just put some simple things in there. So we can say hello world, and we can just hit update on there. Now, if I just jump back into the editor, so we can just jump into the visual editor, which is Oxygen itself, we should now see when we go back in there, that little bit of information we put in, providing all my code was right, is now going to show up at the bottom of the page. So you can see there's hello world. So we've easily gone in now and we've created a simple bit of content inside the WordPress editor, and we've referenced that, and we've just created a simple little bit of PHP code, dropped it in there. Now this is a simple example, but obviously you can go way beyond this, and that's just, and like I say, another one of those things that helps separate Oxygen from a visual editor. Now there are so many things that I could probably show you on what Oxygen has to offer you, and it would just have an entire series of videos in their own right. But hopefully what this has done is it's shown you not only what Oxygen is, or what Oxygen isn't, but also shows you the differentiation between something like Visual Composer or Elementor, and how this gives you a huge level of really sort of low level control over your websites, your design, the coding and so on. Is it the easiest thing to work with? Well, if you're used to something like Visual Composer, no, it's going to have a whole new mindset that you're going to kind of have to get used to. Yes, there's drag and drop elements in there. Yes, you can use sort of widgets and things along those lines. You can also go in and tweak the CSS, same as you can do in something like Visual Composer or Elementor, but this takes it to another level in the level of control that you have over your site and every single element. How you want to work with it comes down to the kind of person you are. Do you really want to go in and deal with something on a really low level? Do you want to get in and start coding, or do you want to sort of just create simple layouts? Do you want to just create a theme for a client that they can then control the content through something like Visual Composer? This can do all of that for you. One of the benefits of this is the fact that it's a $99 access fee, which gives you lifetime access on unlimited domains. So if this is something for you, it's a great way of maximizing your potential without spending huge amounts of money. Finally, thank you to Lewis for asking me to create this content for you guys so I can explain and just sort of clear up some of the confusion that Oxygen has surrounding it about what you can and can't do. So between this video and the first video I created, which was a demo and review of Oxygen, I've literally scratched the surface of what you can do with this. Hopefully it's giving you an insight into whether this is something you'd like to take a look at a little bit further. If you do, the link is in the description below. Go and check it out and see what you think. There's also a light version of Oxygen available now, which is completely free, which should give you a good understanding of what can be done without spending any money. If you did enjoy the video, please give it a thumbs up and smash that subscribe button to be kept up to date with all the new content we add every single week. If you have any comments, questions or feedback or what you think of Oxygen, pop those in the description section below so we can all share and have a conversation. Anyway, until next time, take care.